What's up, friends? Let's talk about my top 10 favorite songs from this year and some other good music that came out this year. I got a little unnecessarily worked up and got a little negative in that last video. So let's talk about some good stuff. Some albums that I was able to deep dive a little bit, but wasn't able to listen to as much because there was just so much good music this year to listen to. But there was great albums by Vampire Weekend, St. Vincent, Cage the Elephant put out a killer record this year. Jack White put out a new record, and it was good. Throwback to hard hitting, just straight rock and roll. Gordy Greep caught my attention because it was interesting, and I found out that it's his first solo album. He was the lead singer in a band called Black Midi that I liked a whole bunch, that I've just recently started getting into, and I was kind of sad that they broke up, but his new solo album is really, really good. Kind of like Black Midi crossed with a bunch of bossa nova type of stuff, and it was really fun. Other bands I look forward to seeing a lot of good stuff coming from. Last Dinner Party had a lot of really good stuff this year. A band called Chelsea Wolf caught my attention, and apparently they've been around for 8 or 10 years, and it was real doomy, kind of gothy, but her newer stuff has a lot more electronic-y kind of elements. The Lemon Twigs are great songwriters, and their new record was pretty good. I found a band called LSD, which is reminded me of the Talking Heads, sort of. And McGee, oh my God, McGee was so good. Such a good modern guitar player with a unique sound and a pretty voice. And a lot of his newer stuff wasn't really my taste. It was a little lo-fi, indie for me, but his guitar playing and his singing just makes up for it. So good. On the hard rock side, Sebastian Bach's new album was really good. Is exactly what you expect from Sebastian Bach, and hearing that voice just takes me back to older days. Devin Townsend had a new album this year that I haven't had a chance to listen to too much of, but he's always phenomenal. Slash had a cool blues album, a lot of blues covers and guest singers on every song. I want to make a video about that album because I want to go into all of the guest stars and all of the songs that he did on that. When I make that video, I'll put that in the description down below. Same thing for a guy named Billy Morrison. You just got to click on that video in the description about Billy Morrison. This guy is amazing, and he's been around for a while, and he knows everybody, and he's played with everybody, and his new album has guest stars, everybody from Billy Idol to Ozzy Osbourne to Corey Taylor. Everybody's on that album. It's great. Another guy that did an album that is not really in my wheelhouse, a little country-ish, but every song has a guest star on it, and it's everybody from Willie Nelson to Kylie Minogue is on songs on Orville Peck's album this year, and Oh, it was so good. Some of it's a little generic, but it's interesting, all of the guest stars that he has. Sum 41 put out their last album. Tony Iommi's got new stuff out. His new song almost made the top 10 list. Elbow, I think, is a band that's been around forever, and I was listening to their album for a while. Nothing really rose to the top as far as songs shining out over anything else, but the whole album is really good. A band called Juju, XUI. I discovered them a few years ago, and it's super experimental, weird ass music. Obviously, Charlie XCX's album Brat is like the album of the year, but none of the songs just rose above any of the other ones for me. The whole album is just good. Same thing with Billie Eilish. I just heard what was on the radio. Sophie had a album, even though she died a few years ago, and this will be her last album. I just wanted to mention it in case anybody likes that type of stuff, to go and check out the last Sophie album. She would have been a superstar, and hopefully Charlie XCX kind of takes that whole hyper pop thing that Sophie was starting and runs with it. And Dolly Parton's album, doing all the rock songs this year, was pretty good. Some other runner-up songs: the Melvins had new music this year, and the one song that stood out to me was a song called She Has Weird Arms. And it's kind of atypical for the Melvins, but it really caught my attention. The Pixies had a lot of good stuff on their new record. Some of it was just straight rock, but the one that really caught my attention was a song called Chicken, and it kind of has some spaghetti western elements, and it's really atmospheric and cinematic, I guess you could say. Guns N' Roses' song The General was on my top 10 for a while, and that was really good. I don't know if they're planning on doing more stuff, making a whole album or whatever, but that song was really good. Gigi Perez had a song called Sailor Song, and I didn't like it at first because it was kind of just that hey-ho indie folk thing, that whole barefoot beards and banjos stuff, like the Lumineers and Edward Sharpe and all of that stuff. But man, the more I listened to it, that song and his voice just kind of just drilled into me. But my top 10 songs, number 10 would be Linkin Park, The Emptiness Machine. And the controversy around the whole deal is kind of shady and gross. I don't like that she's associated with Scientology, but props for plowing through. You know, I mean, they had to have known that this stuff was in her past, and they took a chance with it. And I went into it in the other video about the marketing and their countdown and all that stuff, but the song really stood up. It's not disrespectful to Chester's legacy, and her part is amazing. And everything I don't like about it is all the stuff that I don't like about Linkin Park in the first place. I'm not a huge fan of Mike Shinoda. As soon as he starts singing, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's Linkin Park. But she's the one thing that kind of sells it. I think he's kind of a dweeb. And number 9. Let's moving on. Number 9. Number 9 is that Bruno Mars and Rose song, Appetite, I guess is how you're supposed to say it, because that's how they say it in the song. Die With a Smile is a much better song. The one Bruno Mars did with Lady Gaga. But Appetite made it onto my list because it's just way more fun. It kind of reminds me, it's got that beat from, remember that Ting Ting song, That's Not My Name. That's Not My Name, from a couple of years ago. It's kind of got that Mickey beat, that really, really good. Really, really good. Appetite. It's got that super dumb hook, but then it goes into the whole Bruno Mars thing. So good. So good. Number 8 is an unusual one. It's a band called Creeper. And I knew about Creeper a few years ago. They're kind of a goth type of band, and their stuff's good. But this song, Further Than Forever, just took me by surprise, because it's they take that whole Sisters of Mercy, Depeche Mode, doomer goth thing, but in this song it's like a 7-minute goth epic. And it slows down to a piano part, and it gets super dramatic, and there's monologues and key changes, and then it builds to a big chorus. And just when you think it's over, there's another epic instrumental jam at the end. It's just like, it's like a goth version of Jim Steinman. It's like the best Jim Steinman Meatloaf song you've never heard. Listen to this lyric. The devil's doing good deeds. Instead, I'm Jesus in a strip club. Wait. Devil doing good deeds instead. I'm Jesus in a strip club giving head. Yeah. Fun. Fun. Good song. Number 7 is Chappell Roan. Hot to Go. HOTTOGO. Pink Pony Club and Good Luck Babe, I think, are better songs, just like the Bruno Mars thing. They're better songs. But this one is just too fun, too fun. She just had a great year. She kind of just exploded to the top. And it's funny because the first time I heard this song, I thought she was spelling hot dog. HOTDOGO. So that's all I can think about when I hear that song now. She's just the perfect blend of authenticity and her showy glamour kind of bigness, like a Freddie Mercury, Lady Gaga thing, but with her whole lashing out at people for she's not used to being famous yet, so you gotta give her a minute. She's not like this Disney princesses that Olivia Rodrigo and those kind of Ariana Grande and those kind of people that have been famous since they're 10. She doesn't know how to handle it yet, so I'm glad she came out and stood her ground, and like I said, just her authenticity is just amazing. I hope she's able to hold it together. Number 6, Benson Boone's Beautiful Things. I thought this was kind of just a typical indie / pop thing at first, but when you listen to it, man, you could tell that guy knows how to sing. And the first part of it's just kind of builds kind of slow, and I wasn't a big fan of it. But as soon as it gets into the chorus, that da 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 da, somebody kind of ruined it. I saw a video where, you know, that meme of the goat going blah, or the meme of the kitten going meow, and the part in the chorus where it goes da 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 da. They spliced that. You may not even know what I'm talking about, but it just kind of ruined it. But there's a song that he does in the post-chorus, a note he does in the post-chorus, where he goes up to this high note that I can't hit, and it just really, really grabs me. Number 5 is The Killers, and I passively like The Killers. I know they've been putting out music for 20 years now since their debut. Mr. Brightside was like the millennial song for like 10 years. But I heard this song, Bright Lights, and it really just grabbed me. I can't believe how good it is. It's uplifting and melancholy at the same time, and it's just kind of nostalgic. The verses are all Tom-driven, so it kind of reminds me of a combination of Bruce Springsteen and the best of U2. But then the chorus hits, and it's just really big, and they've got, you know, you can tell there's a female voice in there and a choir singing the chorus, and it's just double time chorus, and it's not gospel, but the choir just kind of carries it. Kind of reminds me of Arcade Fire a little bit too. Oh, it's just, every time I think, why do I have a killer song on my top 10 list? And then I go and listen to it again, and I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, that's so good. Number 4 is Willow with Symptom of Life. And I never expected something like this from her. It's like this weird 7/4 time signature. It's got a super quiet intensity in the piano. And her transformation from her novelty, like watch me whip, watch me nay nay thing, into a legitimate but generic emo kind of. She did that song with MGK called Emo Girl, and she did another kind of straight rock kind of thing with somebody else, and I thought it was good. I'm glad she got out of that whole novelty thing. But this album is just a whole nother level up for her. She has John Baptiste and St. Vincent on different songs on her album, and the whole thing is great, but this song is just phenomenal. How do I have... Oh, I got 2 number 3s. Number 3 is Teddy Swims with Lose Control. That's the song I heard probably the most. Several people that work at the bar played it all the time, and a lot of the patrons that we have just love that song. So I heard that, his soulful voice. I wanted to hate him because I'm just so over fat guy with face tattoo guy. But that song just has everything. The writing is great, and the singing is great. Did I just misnumber something? No, I had an extra song. Well, and also at number 3, I've got Turn the Lights Back On, Billy Joel. The first song that Billy Joel's written in 35 years, and they were trying to make a big deal about that, and I just didn't care. I'm hit and miss with Billy Joel anyway. But I heard it, and I just thought, it just sounds like a Billy Joel song. But the more I sat with it, and then you watch the video, and the video is AI of him at the different stages of his life playing that new song, and with the lyrics, it's just the chord changes and the way the words go with the chord changes, and then the hook in the chorus, turn the lights back on. Oh, just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. My number 2 song is Lawrence. I'm confident, but I'm confident that I'm insecure. And I don't even remember how I came across this song, but it's a brother and sister. Gracie Lawrence has sometimes powerful and sometimes kind of cutesy voice. She can go back and forth. And her brother Clyde is a keyboard player and singer. And he seems super, super talented. I found out with a little research that he graduated from Brown with a music degree. There was a whole TikTok backlash. Met people talking about the Berkeley bubble, whereas like music schools, especially at Berkeley, a lot of the old heads will take some of the newer students and kind of take them under their wing and develop them into like new talent. And I don't know if they're part of that whole thing, but they kind of compared them to people like Charlie Puth and Jacob Collier, like these super, super uber talented people that they're trying to, I wouldn't call them industry plants, but trying to push them as pop artists, even though they're like kind of should just be jazz musicians. But I'm not buying the whole thing. The one thing is that they are Nepo babies. Their dad is the director of movies, including like Miss Congeniality, and first big break Clyde got was with a song in that movie. It's all over that movie. And whatever, it happens. The acoustic video of this song is absolutely amazing. They do it in one take, and she moves around. They've got a bunch of background singers that all sing these crazy harmonies to the song. It's way different than the studio version. I like the studio version better, but the acoustic version is like, they even give each one of them their own little solos, and there's little parts where it breaks down, and she runs over and she plays a little part on the ukulele, and then she comes back over, and then the camera moves all with her, and it goes to each person that's singing, and it's, you could tell it took a lot of time to set that whole thing up and practice it. Every time I hear that song, it brings a tear to my eye and a smile on my face at the same time. And I know that sounds hacky to say stuff like that, but it really does. When I try to listen to that song, the lyrics and the way she sings it and the way it builds and everything, it literally does make me cry. And my number 1 song of the year is Gojira, the Asa Era, the Mea Culpa song that they played at the Olympics. And that just put metal on a bigger audience than anybody, even like the biggest metal band in the world I would consider is Metallica. And they play to a bigger audience than anybody ever. And It's just a beautiful, beautiful performance. I watched it when it first came out. I watched that video like 10 times in a row, and I almost cried every single time, from the Marie Antoinette part because of the Olympics being in Paris, in the building that Marie Antoinette was imprisoned in before she was beheaded, and them being a French band and them hanging off the side of the building, and then the ship goes by with the opera singer on the front of it while they're playing. It was just the most epic 3 minutes that I've seen in a super, super long time. And it was cool to see a French band represent their country in that way with a song of revolution like that. I mean, there was other French artists that they could have got. They could have got anything more palatable. They could have got Phoenix or even Daft Punk, but they went with the metal, man, and it was just, God, so good. All right, that made me feel a little better to talk about something positive for a video. So keep coming back, like and subscribe, and mash that like button and all that bullshit. I'll see you on the next one.